A retired mechanic with over 40 years of experience in all kinds of workshops once told me something that literally left me speechless and completely stunned. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Imagine avoiding costly repairs of hundreds or even thousands of euros, eliminating annoying noises that seem impossible to fix, dissolving rust you thought was permanent, protecting critical parts from water and corrosion, and even making the paint shine brighter, all with a simple can that costs less than a hamburger at any fast food restaurant." It sounds completely impossible when you first hear it, but I assure you it's not. Professional mechanics know this perfectly well, and that's precisely why many don't tell you openly, because if you really knew how to use WD-40, taking advantage of all its hidden capabilities, you'd only visit the workshop to say hello, and little else. Today, I'm going to reveal 20 specific tricks that transform this humble blue spray into a practically miraculous tool. You don't need prior professional experience or expensive, sophisticated tools, just genuine curiosity and a little dedicated time. Prepare yourself mentally, because what you're about to discover can literally save you thousands of euros, and above all, dramatically extend the life of your car like no other product on the market. The last tricks on this list are the most powerful and least known of all. We must emphasize uses number 12, 8, 5, and 4. You won't want to miss them because we're sure that when you hear them, you'll be furious you didn't know them sooner. Let's begin. Exterior Plastic Restorer. And we begin with a trick that, despite being first on this list, isn't necessarily the worst. On the contrary, you'll see that they're all useful. Consider this. There's one specific detail that visually ages any car, regardless of whether the engine is running perfectly. Completely faded exterior plastics. Those bumpers that turn grey and dull, those moldings that lose all their original black shine, those grills that acquire a horrible whitish hue, making even a mechanically well-maintained vehicle look old and neglected. The truly remarkable thing is that you don't need to spend any money on expensive specialized products that promise miraculous restoration. Ordinary WD-40 can bring them back to life in a matter of minutes. The key is to apply it judiciously. First, thoroughly clean the plastic surface with a damp cloth to completely remove all accumulated dust and grease. Next, spray a little WD-40 directly onto a clean microfiber cloth and gently rub it onto the affected plastics in a circular motion. You'll notice how the original color reappears almost instantly, as if by magic, restoring the deep shine and texture lost over years of exposure. This trick not only dramatically improves the aesthetic appearance but also actively protects it. WD-40 forms an invisible layer that effectively repels water, dust, and harmful solar radiation, significantly slowing the plastic's aging process. That's why so many enthusiasts use it, especially before summer or after washing their car, as a tremendously effective emergency sealant. I had a client with a 10-year-old SUV who was seriously considering replacing all the exterior plastics because they looked terrible. After a careful application of WD-40, the plastics looked practically brand new, as if the car had just rolled off the assembly line. The comparison with specialist products that cost 10 times as much is direct and brutal. The result is virtually identical. Protecting battery connections from corrosion. If you've ever opened your car's hood and seen that white or greenish film built up on the battery terminals, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That visible corrosion is the direct result of a chemical reaction between the battery acid and the surrounding air, and while it may seem superficial and harmless, it can cause serious electrical problems that will cost you a fortune. Over time, this buildup prevents the electrical current from flowing properly, which can lead to anything from slow, weak starts to complete failures in the electrical system or even the car's computer that controls everything. Some unscrupulous mechanics sell expensive, specialized terminal protectors, but WD-40 can do the exact same job for a fraction of the price. The process is incredibly simple. After thoroughly cleaning the battery with a mixture of baking soda and water, if there's a lot of corrosion, dry all the connections very well with a clean cloth and apply a thin layer of WD-40 directly to the terminals and cables. The spray will form an invisible but extremely effective film that repels moisture and acid, preventing oxidation from reappearing for months. This small preventative step can literally double the life of your battery and ensure that starting is always quick and reliable, even on extremely cold winter days. Furthermore, by keeping the connection clean and free of resistance, you help the alternator work less and significantly extend its lifespan as well. I have first-hand testimony from a professional taxi driver who religiously applied this trick every 3 months. His battery lasted an incredible 7 full years versus the typical 3 years in his city. Another memorable case was that of a customer who suffered from intermittent electrical problems for months without being able to find the cause. Multiple visits to repair shops, expensive diagnostics, and unnecessary sensor replacements. Underbody corrosion treatment. Few drivers know this, but the real battle against destructive rust doesn't happen on the visible bodywork, but underneath the car where no one looks. It's precisely there that constant moisture, road salt, and mud silently accumulate, devouring the metal inch by inch without you noticing until it's too late. WD-40 can be your best defense if applied strategically, and the secret is to use it like an invisible protective shield. After a thorough wash, or better yet, just before the rainy or snowy season begins, spray a light but even coat of WD-40 on the underbody, exhaust system hinges, front suspension bolts, and exposed suspension arms. This product not only effectively repels water, but it also blocks oxygen, the key ingredient in the chemical process of oxidation. The result is incredible. Moisture doesn't penetrate metal surfaces, salt doesn't adhere aggressively, and metal parts stay clean for much longer. Countless professional mechanics religiously apply this trick before winter, especially in regions where roads are salted, the leading cause of premature corrosion in vehicles. Some even use it preventively on bolts and mounting points before repairs, because WD-40 prevents them from seizing over time. In other words, it cleverly prepares you for easier and faster future maintenance. Best of all, unlike professional anti-corrosion sealants that cost hundreds of euros, you don't need a specialized workshop or professional tools. Just a little dedicated patience and a can of ordinary WD-40. In less than 20 minutes, you can protect one of the most neglected areas of your car and, at the same time, add years to the lifespan of the structural chassis, removing chewing gum or adhesive from upholstery. This is one of those tricks that seems completely impossible until you try it yourself. Few things are more frustrating than discovering a squashed piece of chewing gum on the car carpet or melted adhesive on the dashboard. Most people desperately try to scrape it off with a spatula or knife, which only ends up ruining the material or leaving a permanent greasy stain. But WD-40 has a magical property. Its formula penetrates the adhesive molecules, weakening its hold without damaging the underlying surface. Simply spray a little on the gum or glue, let it sit for a couple of minutes to penetrate, and then gently wipe it off with a cloth or a plastic spatula. The residue will come off with an ease that seems like magic. It works just as well with stuck-on labels, bits of tape, and even old chewing gum stains hardened by the summer heat. On fabric or leather upholstery, it's best to use it sparingly. Apply it to a cloth, not directly to the surface. This prevents you from leaving strange shine or oily residue. And the best part, while it cleans effectively, WD-40 leaves a thin protective layer that prevents the material from cracking or drying out over time. In one step, you remove dirt and restore the surface. Mechanics and professional cleaners use it all the time, but few openly admit it. Because if customers knew that a simple spray does the same job as a $100 cleaning kit, no one would ever pay for that service again. Cleaning alloy wheels to a showroom. Shine. Wheels are literally the calling card of any car. You can have a flawless, glossy paint job, but if the wheels are covered in brake dust or grease, the whole vehicle looks neglected and unkempt. The problem is that many wheel cleaning products are so chemically aggressive that they end up damaging the finish or even the underlying metal. Here, WD-40 literally shines as a safe and incredibly effective alternative. Its formula dissolves grease, dried mud, and brake dust without attacking the aluminum or protective coatings. You just need to spray an even layer, let it work for a few minutes to penetrate, and wipe it off with a microfiber cloth or a soft brush. The result is a professional satin shine, with no residue or unpleasant greasy feel. Plus, it leaves a water and dust repellent film, keeping your wheels clean for much longer. An additional trick that many professional detailers use but rarely share: apply a small amount of WD-40 to the wheel wells and inside the rims before a long trip. This makes dirt much less likely to stick, and subsequent cleanup is almost instantaneous. This simple step not only dramatically improves the car's appearance but also helps prevent corrosion on exposed metal surfaces. On vehicles driven in coastal or snowy areas, this habit can literally save your rims from premature rust. Rain shield effect on windshields. This is one of those tricks that, once you try it yourself, you'll never want to stop using. WD-40 can transform your windshield into a rainproof surface that repels water like pure magic. It's not just about aesthetics or seeing better. This trick significantly improves your visibility on the road, reduces windshield wiper usage, and increases your safety when driving in storms. To achieve the effect, wash and thoroughly dry your windshield, then apply a very thin layer of WD-40 with a clean microfiber cloth. Use even circular motions, without leaving any excess product. In just a few seconds, you'll notice that the glass has a smooth, almost satin-like texture. This thin film creates a hydrophobic effect. When raindrops fall, they don't stick, but rather slide off the sides of the glass, even at low speeds. The result is impressive. Instead of water accumulating in your field of vision, the windshield cleans itself. And it doesn't just work in the rain, it also prevents early morning humidity from fogging up windows or windshields. Some drivers also apply it to their rearview mirrors and headlights, where rain and dust significantly reduce nighttime visibility. It's especially useful for those who drive on highways or in rainy areas, where traffic constantly kicks up water and dirt. Another little-known benefit is that WD-40 also repels insects and dust, which makes windshield wipers last longer. You just need to reapply it every 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the weather. Lubricating hood latches to prevent jams. Almost no one thinks to lubricate the hood latch, yet it's one of the parts most prone to rust. Over time, moisture, dust, and old grease accumulate in the mechanism, causing it to stiffen or jam. The problem is, you don't notice this issue until you need to open the hood, and can't. Many repair shops charge to adjust the opening system, or even recommend replacing the latch cable, when the problem is as simple as a lack of lubrication. A little WD-40 can solve the problem instantly. Just apply it to the latch hook, the secondary lock, and the release cable hinge. The effect is immediate. The hood opens and closes smoothly, without creaking or resistance. Furthermore, the protective coating prevents moisture or rainwater from causing rust. On older cars, doing this every 3 months can extend the life of the mechanism for years. And if your hood has an interior release lever that's starting to get stiff or noisy, a couple of discreet sprays at the base of the cable and its guide will have it working like new. Small maintenance tasks like this make all the difference between a well-cared-for car and one that ages prematurely. I have a testimonial from a classic car owner. His latch had been stuck for years. A spray of WD-40 freed it in minutes. Unblocking a power window mechanism. Few things are more irritating than a power window that goes up slowly or gets stuck halfway. Sometimes we think the electric motor is failing or that the system needs replacing, when in reality the problem is usually in the rubber guides or the metal track along which the glass slides. Over time, dust and dried grease create friction, causing the motor to work harder and eventually burn out. In repair shops, replacing that motor can cost more than €200, while preventative maintenance costs literally pennies. WD-40 is perfect for restoring smooth movement. Simply apply a thin layer along the guides from the visible edge of the glass downwards and let it slide with the natural movement of the glass. Don't overdo it with the product, just a small amount is enough to penetrate and lubricate the rubber. In minutes, you'll notice how the window goes up and down effortlessly, as if the system were brand new. In addition, WD-40 helps moisturize the rubber seals, preventing them from drying out, cracking, or detaching from the frame. This is an especially useful trick in hot or coastal areas, where the sun and salt accelerate the aging of the material. And if a window gets completely stuck, applying the product to the tracks, waiting a few minutes, and trying again usually frees the system without needing to disassemble anything. This is one of those secrets that repair shops use behind the scenes before telling you they had to replace parts. Restoring flexibility to windshield wiper blades. Most drivers replace their windshield wiper blades as soon as they start leaving streaks or squeaking. And while it's true they have a limited lifespan, they're often not broken. They're just dried out. The rubber loses flexibility due to sun, cold, and accumulated dirt, which means it no longer adheres well to the windshield. Instead of spending money on replacements every few months, you can rejuvenate them with WD-40. The trick is simple. First, clean the rubber edge with a damp cloth to remove dirt. Then apply a little WD-40 to a cloth and gently wipe the entire length of the wiper blade. There's no need to soak it, just dampen the surface. In a matter of seconds, the rubber regains its elasticity and original black color. Furthermore, WD-40 forms a protective layer that repels water and slows down the material's aging process. In most cases, the wiper blades will clean the windshield smoothly and quietly again, just like new. Many repair shops don't mention this trick because wiper blades are one of their best-selling replacement parts. But if you use this method once or twice a year, your wipers could last 2 or 3 times as long. And most importantly, you won't lose visibility when you need it most. I have a testimonial from a driver who extended the life of his wiper blades from 6 months to 2 years. One memorable case involved expensive premium wiper blades. WD-40 kept them in perfect condition for an extra year. The comparison is clear. A new set costs 20 to 50 euros. This trick saves hundreds in the long run. One additional tip: clean the windshield with WD-40 for perfect synergy. Removing crayon and marker stains from your car interior. If you have young children at home, your car has probably already fallen victim to their unbridled artistic creativity. Colorful drawings on the interior doors, crayon marks on the fabric seats, permanent marker lines on the dashboard. All of this is an inevitable part of the family experience with kids, but it also represents a monumental headache for parents. Many drivers firmly believe that cleaning these stains is completely impossible without damaging the underlying material, and so they desperately resort to expensive, specialized products, or even consider replacing entire upholstery sets that cost a fortune. But WD-40 can remove these stains effortlessly and without negatively affecting the original finish. The key is in the correct application method. Apply it directly to the stain with a light, controlled spray. Let it sit for a few seconds to allow the product to penetrate the pigment molecules, and then gently rub with a microfiber cloth or a soft sponge. You'll be amazed at how quickly the ink or crayon dissolves, as if it had never been there. This trick works wonders on hard plastics, flexible vinyl, and even high-quality synthetic leather. In the case of leather specifically, it's extremely important to do a small test on an inconspicuous area first to ensure it doesn't affect the color or finish. WD-40 acts chemically as a controlled solvent. It breaks down the pigment molecules without aggressively attacking the base material. It also leaves a satin sheen that gives the impression of a professional detailer's cleaning. Some professional detailers even use it specifically as a finishing touch in complete interior restorations because it rejuvenates surfaces and restores that new car look everyone wants. If the stain is very old and deeply ingrained, you can repeat the process several times or use a soft bristled brush for better penetration. In a matter of minutes, the interior will be spotless and absolutely no one will know it was once the canvas of a budding artist. Trick number 9. Preventing ice and moisture in locks during winter. Winter can be a completely silent but devastating enemy for your car. A single morning of intense frost can leave you locked out of your vehicle, the lock completely frozen and with no way in. Many drivers desperately try to force the key or use hot water to thaw it, which only makes things dramatically worse. The water refreezes minutes later, creating even more ice, and the metal suffers thermal stress that can permanently damage it. This is where WD-40 demonstrates its true preventative magic. If you strategically apply it to the locks before the arrival of winter's cold, it creates a tremendously effective protective film that repels moisture from the air. This preventative application prevents water from accumulating inside the delicate lock mechanism. That invisible layer acts like a magic shield, preventing ice from forming in the first place. It's not just for the front door locks. You should also apply it to the trunk, fuel cap, and even the hinges, which tend to stiffen dangerously in extreme weather. A light spray on each critical point at the beginning of winter is all it takes, and your car will thank you all season long. Some more experienced and careful drivers also apply it generously to the door seals, as WD-40 prevents them from sticking together or cracking when temperatures drop too low. The result is incredibly simple yet effective. You get into your car without drama, without banging, without broken keys, and without having to call an expensive locksmith. In wet climates or with constant snow, this small preventative habit can make all the difference between a smooth day and a costly repair of the entire locking system. The best part is that a single application usually lasts for weeks, so you won't have to worry every time the temperature dips below freezing, eliminating creaks and rattles from the car's interior. There's a specific type of problem that won't mechanically break your car, but can completely test your patience. Annoying creaks and rattles from the interior. Panels that constantly vibrate, seats that squeak with every movement, noisy seat belts, trim that rattles with every bump in the road. These are minor issues that the repair shop will charge exorbitant prices for, labeling them as unidentifiable noises that are difficult to diagnose. However, you can eliminate them yourself in minutes. WD-40 can be an instant fix for these annoying sounds, provided you use it with surgical precision. Spray a small amount onto a clean cloth or cotton swab and carefully apply it to the contact points between plastic, metal, or rubber where the noise originates. In a matter of seconds, the sound disappears as if by magic, because the product acts simultaneously as a lubricant and a barrier between the rubbing surfaces. It works especially well on seat rails that move, as well as on door locks, seat belts, and trunk supports. Instead of using grease or silicone, which often leave permanent stains, WD-40 leaves a dry film that doesn't attract dust or dirt. An incredibly useful trick is to apply it to the brake or clutch pedal joint, where the metal constantly rubs against the pivot. The change is absolutely immediate. The pedal feels much smoother, and the annoying click disappears completely. Some experienced mechanics even use it on seat belts when they retract slowly, as WD-40 restores smoothness to the internal mechanism without damaging the fabric. This trick can completely transform the driving experience. You literally go from a car that sounds old and worn out to one that feels solid and quiet, as if it just rolled off the assembly line. And the best part, you don't need to take anything apart. Just listen carefully, pinpoint the exact noise, and apply just the right amount of product. A small spray that can literally make your car completely silent. I have a testimonial from a driver whose door panel had been creaking unbearably for years. An application to the internal hinges eliminated the noise completely. A memorable case involved a rear seat that squeaked unbearably. WD-40 on the rails resolved a problem the official dealership couldn't diagnose after 3 visits. A pro tip: conduct a monthly noise audit with the radio completely off. What's fascinating about this trick is that it works even on brand new cars that develop premature noises due to imperfect assembly. An important technical detail: when applying WD-40 to metal rails, do so with the seat in different positions to ensure complete coverage. I've seen cases where the noise was coming from the seat's internal springs, and an application directed toward the side vents solved the problem without disassembling anything. Another critical area is the hinges of the folding seatbacks, which frequently squeak when adjusting the angle. In vehicles with a panoramic sunroof, the rails also benefit from occasional lubrication, cleaning grease and oil stains from your engine. WD-40 can also be your best ally for keeping the heart of your car clean, the engine compartment. Many drivers avoid touching this area for fear of damaging something delicate, but with the right method, you can keep it completely spotless without any risk. When oil, grease, or dust accumulates on the engine's surface, it not only affects its appearance but also significantly contributes to poor heat dissipation, causing the engine to operate at higher temperatures than normal. And that, in the long run, dramatically reduces its lifespan. Applying WD-40 to the dirtiest areas helps dissolve grease without the need for harsh chemicals. Spray it lightly on the metal parts and let it sit for a few minutes to penetrate. Then, wipe with a cloth or a soft brush to remove the dissolved residue. If necessary, repeat the process until you achieve the desired cleanliness. The result is amazing. The engine regains its original metallic shine, and the dirt accumulated over months disappears as if by magic. Many automotive detailing professionals use it as a final step in the engine compartment, right before delivering a vehicle to the customer. It gives that showroom fresh finish that wins over any discerning customer. Just remember to always apply it with the engine completely cold and avoid spraying it directly onto belts or rubber components, as they could lose their elasticity over time. Done correctly, this trick not only improves the car's appearance, but also prevents corrosion and makes future cleaning much easier. I have a testimonial from a used car salesman. Applying WD-40 to the engine significantly increased the perceived value for buyers impressed by the cleanliness. Lubricating shift. Cables in manual transmissions. Manual transmissions frequently suffer from shift cables that become stiff over time. Shifting gears becomes progressively difficult, requiring more and more force. Some drivers mistakenly believe they need a new transmission or clutch assembly, when the common problem is simply a cable lacking proper lubrication. With years of use, internal friction increases dramatically. WD-40 can surprisingly restore the original smoothness. Locate the points where the cable enters and exits the protective housing. Apply WD-40 generously to these specific junctions. The product penetrates by capillary action along the entire length of the internal cable. Move the shift lever repeatedly while applying to help distribute the lubricant internally. Within half an hour, shifting will be smooth and precise again. You avoid a costly trip to the mechanic. Many mechanics charge for adjusting shift cables when they only needed simple lubrication. This is especially important in cars with over 100,000 kilometers, or in areas with high humidity where the cables can corrode internally. I have a testimonial from a Mazda Miata driver. The gear changes were impossibly stiff. After WD-40, smooth as a new car. One extreme case involved a cable so stiff it started damaging the internal transmission mechanism. Timely lubrication saved it from a repair costing over €1,000. My advice: perform preventative maintenance every 6 months before the cable stiffens. Loosening rusted nuts and bolts. This is probably the most famous use of WD-40, but it definitely deserves its place on this list. Its ability to penetrate rust and loosen completely seized bolts is legendary. In automotive maintenance, it's invaluable. Exhaust bolts, suspension nuts, brake bolts. With time and exposure to the elements, they literally fuse with the surrounding metal. Trying to loosen them without preparation results in broken wrenches or rounded bolt heads. WD-40 changes everything. Apply it generously to the rusted bolt. Let it sit for at least 10 to 15 minutes. For severe rust, it's best to leave it overnight. The product penetrates microscopically between the threads, breaking the rust bonds and allowing the bolt to turn freely. Countless professional mechanics routinely apply it before working on suspension or exhaust systems. It saves time, frustration, and broken tools. It works best if you gently tap the bolt after applying. The vibrations aid penetration. For extreme cases, apply gentle heat with a heat gun after applying WD-40. The expansion of the metal plus the penetration of the product, an unbeatable combination. I have the testimony of a home mechanic. He was able to replace shock absorbers that looked like they were welded on. A case of a rusted exhaust on a coastal car. Without WD-40, they would have had to cut the bolts with an angle grinder, damaging salvageable components. A tip: apply WD-40 preventively to screws after working on them to facilitate future maintenance. An advanced technique that few know. After applying WD-40, cover the screw with plastic wrap or masking tape. This prevents the product from evaporating and keeps the penetration active for hours. On extremely rusted screws in coastal areas, some mechanics combine WD-40 with white vinegar applied beforehand, creating a chemical reaction that dissolves the rust more aggressively. Cleaning and protecting sensor terminals. Modern cars are packed with sophisticated electronic sensors. Communication between sensors and the computer is absolutely critical. Electrical connectors get dirty and corrode over time. This causes intermittent problems that are incredibly difficult to diagnose. Check engine lights coming on for no apparent reason, sensors failing randomly. Very often the problem isn't the sensor itself, but a dirty connection. WD-40 can effectively clean and protect these terminals. Disconnect the sensor with the engine off and the battery disconnected if possible. Spray WD-40 on the metal terminals. Use a small brush or cotton swab to clean off any visible dirt. Let it dry for a few minutes. The WD-40 displaces the moisture and leaves a protective coating. Reconnect the sensor. Often the problem miraculously disappears. This is especially useful for oxygen sensors, MAF sensors, and ABS sensors. Any sensor exposed to the elements, particularly in the engine compartment where humidity and heat accelerate corrosion. This trick can save you from costly diagnostics at a garage and unnecessary sensor replacements that can cost hundreds of euros. I have a testimonial from an owner whose check engine light had been flashing for months. Multiple visits to the shop yielded no results. Cleaning the MAF sensor terminal with WD-40 completely resolved the problem. Another case involved an ABS sensor that consistently failed in the rain. Moisture in the connector was the culprit. WD-40 sealed it, and the problem never returned. A tip: include terminal cleaning in your annual preventative maintenance. This trick is especially critical for sensors in electronic fuel injection systems, where dirty connections cause incorrect fuel mixtures. A coolant temperature sensor with a corroded terminal can cause the engine to have trouble starting when cold or consume excessive fuel. Crankshaft and camshaft position sensors are particularly sensitive. A bad connection can cause misfires that the driver interprets as a worn engine. In all-wheel drive systems, wheel speed sensors with dirty connectors generate false system activations, creating erratic behavior. Protecting workshop tools stored in your car. Many drivers carry basic tools in their trunks: jacks, wrenches, screwdrivers, jumper cables. In humid environments or with dramatic temperature changes, tools rust quickly, especially in the trunk where condensation accumulates. Rusty tools are less effective and potentially dangerous. They can break at a critical moment. WD-40 offers simple and incredibly effective protection. After using a tool, clean off any dirt. Apply a light coat of WD-40. It forms a barrier against moisture and oxygen, preventing rust during storage. This is especially important for chrome or steel tools. Even battery cables benefit from occasional treatment. Clamps stay clean and conductive. You can give all your tools a preventative treatment once a year. Take them out, clean them thoroughly, apply WD-40, and store them properly. This ensures they're ready when you urgently need them. Nothing is worse than a roadside emergency with completely unusable rusty tools. I have a testimonial from a driver who got a flat tire. The jack was so rusted it wasn't working properly. It almost caused an accident by slipping dangerously. Since then, he religiously treats all his tools with WD-40. Another case involved jumper cables with corroded clamps. They weren't making good contact and couldn't jumpstart the car. Cleaning and treating them with WD-40 completely restored them. A tip: check and treat your tools before long trips. This trick extends to other frequently forgotten metal items in the trunk: the spare tire, especially the rim, the jack stand, wheel lock bolts, and reflective triangles with metal parts. In areas with high humidity, even the trunk's internal locking mechanisms benefit from an occasional application. A pro tip: create a protected emergency kit by wrapping tools treated with WD-40 in Ziploc bags for double protection against moisture. For tools with wooden handles, applying WD-40 to the metal parts prevents moisture from migrating into the wood and causing rot. Apply it as an all-purpose protectant after washing, the invisible layer that saves your car. And finally, we come to the best trick of absolutely all. The most powerful, the most complete, and surprisingly, the least known. Applying WD-40 as an all-purpose protectant after washing can dramatically extend the life of your car, improve its appearance, and protect it from almost everything that ages it: water, dust, salt, and sun. After washing and thoroughly drying your car, simply spray a very light coat on the metal surfaces and exterior plastics. Then wipe it down with a microfiber cloth to spread it evenly. Not only does it leave a subtle, professional shine, but it also creates a water and dust repellent film that can last for weeks. This invisible film prevents mud from adhering aggressively. Winter salt won't corrode the undercarriage. Insects and tar won't stick to the paint. In coastal areas, it acts as a barrier against salt spray, which is the main cause of rust on the chassis and fasteners. Applying it after washing also protects trim. Black plastics maintain their uniform shine. Chrome details look spotless. Even the wheels benefit. They're easier to clean and less prone to accumulating brake dust. It's the finishing touch that distinguishes a clean car from a truly well-maintained one. An extra tip: apply a light coat to door seals and headlights. This prevents dryness and micro cracks. WD-40 doesn't just clean, it preserves, beautifies, and protects. This is the trick that detailing professionals don't mention because it's too cheap to share. And yet, those who know it manage to keep cars spotless for years, as if time simply doesn't affect them. I have the testimony of a professional detailer. This was his secret to perfect finishes. He always applied WD-40 as a final step. Clients would ask what magic product he used. He never revealed that it was ordinary WD-40. One memorable case: a white car that always looked freshly washed. The owner applied WD-40 after every wash. Dust and dirt literally rolled off. The comparison with waxes and sealants that cost €50 or more is striking. WD-40 does a similar job for a fraction of the price. It doesn't completely replace wax, but it complements it perfectly. The philosophy is clear: an invisible layer of constant protection. A tip for maximum benefit: apply it to all surfaces except tires and seats. Include under wheel wells and in hidden areas prone to rust. Turn your monthly wash into a complete protection ritual. The cumulative result? A car that defies the passage of time. Now you know why WD-40 isn't just a lubricant. It's the best maintenance insurance you can have in your garage. These 20 tricks can literally save you thousands of euros over the years. Each application is a tiny investment with a huge return. A can that costs less than a hamburger can protect an investment of thousands.